Directed graph of stereotypical incomprehensibility. That's the first time I've ever said that word in my life. Basically, languages mentioned in the most common translation of "it's all Greek to me" idiom. Now, I say this all the time. I usually go with "it's all Chinese to me." That's usually because I see an opening to make a dumb dad joke there. So it looks like actually a lot of the world uses that same phrase, but of course, they do change the language that they reference. So yeah, a lot of English speakers, they say "it's all Greek to me." I have heard of that. I don't think I've ever actually used that before though, for some reason. If you're from Italy, you're likely to say "it's all Arabic to me." And in Saudi Arabia, they say "it's all Hindi to me." Most places from the Balkans are actually saying "it's all Spanish to me." That's a weird one, especially with so much like Spanglish here in California. I don't know if that would work as well. So I guess that's why you kind of have to change the language at times, depending on where you are in the world. The phrase is not always a direct translation either. In one of these countries, they actually say "it's all a Spanish village to me." I don't know why, but okay. The Nordic countries are split between "it's all Greek to me" and "it's all Hebrew to me." If you're from Cyprus or Romania, you're going to reference a closer neighbor, "it's all Turkish to me." German, "it's all train station"? What is that? But here are all of the countries that say "it's all Chinese to me." It seems like most of the world uses that phrase specifically. Maybe that's why I use it too. But in China, they use "it's all Martian." I like that. Wait a second. Did the Chinese know something that we don't know? Their rover found something up there, didn't they? And by the way, if you didn't already hear, I'm once again selling plushies. This time we got two for you, a German ball and a Russian ball. And if you buy both, you'll receive $5 off. They're being sold at a limited time, so check out that link down below. Here's a map of the US showing strange city names in states where you wouldn't expect. Like Los Angeles, Texas, which is a little bit north of San Diego, Texas. There's also Miami, Arizona. I knew there was a Miami in Ohio, and then of course the one in Florida. There's also a lot of Houstons out here. Florida has a Houston, and Alaska has a Houston. Oh, even Texas has a Miami. In Oklahoma, there's a city called Disney, and in Georgia, there's a city called Dallas. My favorite one, though, I love how there's a Jersey Shore in the middle of Pennsylvania. Like, okay. What the hell is this going on in New York? There's a place called Texas, Mexico. Is that the full name of the city? Also, why'd you name this the North Pole, New York? This only confirms my belief that when Americans named stuff, we had no originality. I mean, I knew that we were jacking city names from Europe, but I didn't know we were jacking our own city names. Like, just from other states, that's a new low. Look how many we repeated, too. There's Manhattan of Montana and Manhattan of Kansas. What sound do frogs make in different languages? Of course, in English, we say ribbit. Could be spelled a little bit differently, depending on where you are in the British Isles or Ireland. Now, immediately, I'm taken back by whatever the hell this is in Germany. Quack? Quack, Germany. Okay. In Poland, it's cum. Cum? I don't even know. That's unique though. No one else does it like that. The nations are color coordinated to be like, I guess, somewhat similar in the way they're doing this. I guess Estonia doesn't have very high opinions of frogs. Maybe they're doing a lot of thieving over there. Crook. That actually doesn't sound too bad though. Interesting that one of the only places that also uses ribbit is Portugal. What is up with the orange though? Like, I don't understand how you can even get that out of a frog. Here's a map showing the countries that have no standing army, and there's actually a lot more than I expected. The biggest one being Iceland. I mean, I know that they're an island, and a lot of island nations don't have a standing army, but damn, I mean, maybe they're just expecting the volcano to save them if they get invaded. Almost all of the city-states of Europe don't have anything. Andorra, Monaco, Vatican City, San Marino. Understandable. Why would you want that? Even if you had an army, you're gonna get crushed either way, so why waste your money on it? A lot of places in the Caribbean, and actually even in Central America. Maybe it's also kind of a similar thing. They're so small that it's like not even worth it. I'm now realizing that that's actually the way most countries are working. If you're at a certain size, it's like, hey, if someone invades us, there's no amount of defending we're gonna be able to do. Why even have an army? And a ton of places in Oceania. Almost every place, it seems like, or in the Indian Ocean. I would assume a lot of these places have allies that would defend them if they were invaded anyways. So yeah, like what really is the point? I think the fact that Panama isn't protecting that canal though, that is a little sketch. Just gonna throw it out there, Panama. Like, yeah, at least put up a fighter or something. What if pirates start rolling back into the Caribbean? Annual fruit consumption per capita. Which European country is eating the most fruit? It looks like it might be Iceland. No, not even close. It's actually Turkey and Greece. Wait, no, I'm messing up. Apparently it's Albania at 171. 171 fruit per capita? Does that mean every single person is eating 171 fruit a year. I know motherfuckers that go their whole lives without eating fruit. I probably eat like 2 or 3 a year. Someone brought up a good point that prices probably have a really big part in this. Some places it might just be more expensive to import fruit, so you know they gotta charge more. That would affect this definitely. A lot of those former Eastern Bloc countries really aren't fans, but yeah, like we said, maybe it's the price tag. Mediterranean gang, look at this. They've all found something in common. Wonder what's going on in the disparity between Ireland and the UK. That's not super normal. I guess why would you need fruit when you're just drinking all the time? Here's a light pollution map showing the population density of Egypt. Egypt's like a big old square nation, but in reality it's not. It's actually just a river nation. We should just rename Egypt to the Nile, because that's really where everybody is. Look at this part of Egypt, so massive, but it's because like everyone has to be next to the river since everything else is just a giant desert. Even this land that they control right here on the other side of the Suez, no one's living out there. Where were the people who live in Sweden born? This is the top 15 countries of birth for Swedish residents. Somewhat surprisingly, Norway is 15th on this list, and Finland is 3. I don't know, I thought those would be much higher. Poland is 4, and Germany is 11. This is really where a lot are coming from. I've also now just realized that they used IKEA colors to represent this map. Perfect, perfect. I actually kind of wonder, is this where IKEA is going to try some neo-colonization? That'd be a fun little Swedish empire right there. I feel like I talk about this like literally every week, but Wyoming is really small. There's 116 US counties that are more populous than the state of Wyoming. This is why people really don't think it exists. Like, I sometimes do see Wyoming license plates in California, but I look at their face and I'm like, nah, that's like a lizard person. It looks like almost a majority of counties in the US are bigger than Wyoming, but there's just a lot of states in general that have at least one county that can outmatch Wyoming. And this is just showing you counties. There are many cities that are bigger than 500,000. The city I live in Southern California is bigger than Wyoming, like by twice as much. But hold on, there has been a new development. I have also now just learned the state of Wyoming has 2 escalators. These are the only 2 escalators in the entire state. What? Do you want to make people think you're not a real state? Because this is how you make people think you're not a real state. Out of all the crap I've talked about Wyoming too, I don't get any Wyoming comments. There's no people defending Wyoming. Because they're not there. They're not there. Top 10 countries with the 2 largest cities farthest apart. Why? Because why not, I guess? Congo is a very big country. They're in 2nd place here. These 2 cities over 1,500 kilometers apart. I actually thought that China would be a little bit higher on the list. Vietnam, not a very thick country, but a very long one at that. They're 6th, not too bad. Nobody in South America. It is easily LA and New York. The USA takes the cake on this. It's crazy to actually think this is under one country. Like, it seems like 2 very different places. Come and see America the Beautiful. Where is the nearest national park? So this divides up the US states to show you where is the closest national park to you. Obviously, these people have to travel a lot further. We weren't really thinking about national parks back in the day when we were first like colonizing this place. I think we were kind of just focused on survival. But then as soon as we got over here in some of the less populated western places, we're like, oh yeah, we should probably do that. That's why there's just way more in the west than there is in the east. Map of Europe, if their size represented their GDP. This one is really interesting. I know Germany makes that dough. Germany, France, the UK. It really just shows how bad Russia's doing. Russia's such a massive place, but economically, they ain't doing a whole lot over here. Very similar to the size of Spain. Turkey also a bit smaller than I thought they'd be. I thought they'd be a lot larger. Look at little Cyprus right here. I mean, they're not doing too bad. Luxembourg probably the most impressive compared to their size. Really pulling some weight. Actually, Swiss too. Which of the 7 modern wonders of the world is closest to you? So here in North America, it's probably most likely the Chichen Itza. Never visited that, but I'd like to one day. Then there's Machu Picchu in South America. They got 2. Didn't know South America had 2. The Cristo Redentor down here in Brazil. Looks like the Great Wall of China is winning this little battle. Most of the world probably is closest to that. Then there's the Taj Mahal, the Petra, and the Colosseum. Doesn't seem too difficult to see all these. I think it's possible. Crazy that like South Africa would be better just going to Brazil and seeing this one than going to the Petra. Alaska, the same thing with the Great Wall. Australia actually has the longest national highway in the world. It pretty much completely goes around the entire continent. Yeah, they deserve some credit for this one. Seems like a fun but also terrifying drive after knowing about that Australian wildlife. Might get jumped by some kangaroos out there. What countries do not have rivers? Why have I never thought of this before? But seems to be a lot of places, mostly islands. It's kind of amazing that any small island can even fit a river. But then there's a couple microstates from Europe, of course, and then all of the Arabian Peninsula. There's not a single river between Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Oman, Yemen. I guess that does make sense. There's not a whole lot of mountains here. It's pretty flat. Where would the snow and the river water come from? I don't know why it never crossed my mind. This is freaking me out. Someone graphed their grades throughout 2012 to 2022. I'm wondering if this person's doing like a GPA score. For every A, you get 4 points. Is that what it is, or is it 5 points now? I don't know. It used to be 4. Something real bad happened, though, between 2014 and 2016. Actually, 2012, dude is a genius. Then it falls 2 years later, and then it completely hits rock bottom. Somewhere in 2015. Did he just drop out of school in 2017? He didn't even try anymore. He's just like, F this. But look at this epic comeback. Boom, 2019 and 2020 rolls around, and he's back to those old levels again. I don't know what we could blame this on, teenage angst or whatever, but anyone can come back, never give up. If I did a graph like this, my image would be so boring. I was just like literally the most mediocre student ever. It never went up, it never went down. It was just like right in the middle for all like 10 years. How to water, because apparently it's a lot more confusing than I thought. The incorrect way to water is frequent light watering. And is that because it all just settles near the top? Shallow roots. The correct way to water is to do infrequent heavy watering. So you just put the plant into a bowl of water. That's what almost this image looks like. Okay, so you don't want to do it all the time, but you just want to give it a lot of water when you do. Roots chase water to the bottom of the pot. Oh wow, so plants are pretty easy. Pretty low maintenance right there. They don't need all this attention. That actually makes them dumber. Here's a mirrored image of Europe to show that our perception of maps really require familiar shapes. Every time I see like an inverted map or like a map that's like flipped upside down, I don't know why it like makes me want to throw up. I'm not joking, like I legit, like there's something wrong because I overthink, I start to like overheat. It's like when your computer completely crashes, it goes blue screen. That's what happens to my brain, so I really don't like looking at things like this. I think I did a whole like hour or two video looking at like a reversed map, and I never felt the same way again. Tour de France, winners average speed. So when this little biking competition first started, they were doing all right, about 30 kilometers an hour for the winning speed, a little bit under that. Then WW1 hit, they didn't do anything. People were slacking back in the 20s. Maybe that was because, like, I don't know, the roaring 20s. I don't think that was happening in Europe, but regardless, maybe it was like a change in strategy. Then, boom, something goes on. Little increase, but WW2 hits, gotta stop. We gotta put those bicycle people on the front lines. It actually started to still go up, but in the red, it'll show the dopers, the known dopers, people that were roiding at the same time. This is fascinating because it really shows that, at least in the 70s, it didn't make that huge of a difference. Probably just helped your chances. Maybe helped like a mediocre person in the middle of the pack win out. It was still increasing in like the 90s. Then there was another big doping period where that was all who was winning. But amazingly, like the speed hasn't changed too much. So the speed itself, the winning speed, is still about the same. People are obviously humans are getting better at this, by the way. But the doping was probably just like helping more people compete at that top level. That's what I'm assuming. Light designs to minimize light pollution. So this is very bad. I feel like this is mostly, I see these lights before. Actually, no, I think I see this. This is mostly bad, but they got the little hat on it, so it doesn't do quite as much damage. A little bit better when you give it a little hood, but the best, but okay, how are you gonna make a light like that? I'm not gonna be able to see anything. This kind of defeats the purpose of having a light, don't you think? I mean, what am I gonna do right here? It's gonna be pitch black, like a couple feet away. And thank you to the patrons of June. Drew's Argentinian Grandpa. I'm Bout a Nut. AryanAfterHours. Sussy Imposter does a little trolling. Zeffi. Poppy Drew Woo. Stormtrooper 501. Patrick C. Manny 74. LuxembourgLover. Aaron F. Anthony G. Call of Tortoise. Dalton D. Elijah Senpai. EpiNick. Full Send. Kaylee K. And M203 BrushEm. Thank you.